How to set boundaries without guilt. Setting boundaries is one of the hardest things we do, not because it's wrong, but because we've been taught that saying no is selfish, rude, or disappointing. For a long time, I believed that every request I refused would hurt someone else or make me a bad person. That belief left me stretched thin, resentful, and constantly exhausted. Learning to set boundaries without guilt has been a quiet but powerful lesson in self-respect and freedom. Boundaries are not punishments. They're declarations of what you need to feel safe, energized, and respected. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't make you unkind. It makes you honest. The first step is understanding that your time, energy, and emotional well-being are valuable. You can't pour from an empty cup. Protecting your boundaries isn't selfish. It's necessary for sustainable relationships and personal growth. The second step is clarity. I've learned to define what I will and won't accept without over-explaining or apologizing excessively. Boundaries work best when they're simple and firm. I can't take on extra work this week, or I need quiet time in the evenings to recharge. Don't require long justifications or defense. The more clearly you communicate your needs, the less room there is for guilt to creep in. The third step is self-compassion. Guilt often arises because we confuse discomfort, someone else's frustration, or our own fear of confrontation with wrongdoing. But discomfort doesn't equal immorality. When I remind myself that my boundaries are acts of self-care, not rejection, the guilt loses its power. I also notice that most people respect boundaries when they are presented calmly and honestly. Finally, practice helps. Setting boundaries without guilt feels unnatural at first, especially if you've spent years prioritizing others above yourself. But each time I honor my limits, I gain confidence. Each time I say no and survive, I realize that relationships, work, and life don't collapse. In fact, they improve when everyone knows what's acceptable and sustainable. Boundaries aren't walls. They're guideposts. They teach others how to treat you and remind you how to treat yourself. Setting them without guilt is not just possible, it's liberating.